So first of all, LAPD is not sharing any information with that. I'm not getting anything more than the public's getting.
Right.
They take information from us, but they don't comment on it. It's incredibly quiet. Like everybody's just doing a very good job of being quiet or what's.
The home's owner says he wasn't getting a lot of answers about whether the multi-million-dollar crime might be connected to something nefarious. So he hired private investigator Steve Fisher to dig into everything.
There could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her, and it's scary, sadistic stuff. And I'm certain I know who it is. I can't say, but there is surveillance from the 29th, and I'm certain I know who this person is.
Everyone's talking about what David did, but almost no one's talking about the 7 things the police tried to hide. And once you see this list, you'll realize this whole case might have been mishandled from day one.
Do you know how? Oh, let me just get to the point. The police searched the wrong house. I repeat, the police searched the wrong house in the David case. They searched the wrong house.
When officers first responded to the call in early spring, some reports suggest they entered the wrong property. The neighbors later claimed police vehicles were parked one street over, their flashlights scanning a house that didn't match the address given. If that's true, it means crucial minutes, perhaps even hours, were lost before the right home was checked. Some online investigators believe this initial confusion wasn't a simple mix-up. They point to digital maps showing that the first dispatch location differed from the eventual crime scene address by 2 digits. Those who followed the case argue this delay may have allowed certain items to be removed or moved before law enforcement properly arrived. And while the police never commented directly on this alleged mistake, whether it was incompetence or coincidence, it remains unclear. But for many watching, it was the first sign that something wasn't right. Days after the scene was cleared, the private investigator entered with the landlord's permission.
This is death. A private investigator has uncovered many interesting pieces of information, including pill bottles found at a home where the singer had been living, that add even more layers to this mystery.
What he reportedly found was shocking. Personal notebooks, unusual tools, pill bottles, and toxic chemicals that you won't find in a normal house. If the house had been properly processed, how were these items missed?
They were disturbing items. There's a few things that were just like, will blow your mind. There could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her, and it's scary, sadistic stuff.
The private investigator claimed he handed everything over to an attorney who later confirmed the evidence wasn't on any official chain of custody list. Some observers suggest this might have been an intentional decision to focus only on the OD theory and leave out anything that didn't fit that narrative. But that remains speculation. What's certain is that what should have been bagged and sealed was left sitting in the dark. When the police first spoke to the press, they reportedly described the case as a possible OD. That wording, critics say, came far too soon. No toxicology tests had been completed, no medical evaluation was available, so how could they know? Some believe this language set the tone for the entire investigation. Once the OD narrative was out, there was little incentive to dig deeper. It shaped how the media reported it, how fans discussed it, and perhaps how internal investigators treated later evidence. Think about it. They refused to consider David a suspect without any investigation, but they announced the case to possibly be OD without concrete evidence.
And I want to be clear, Los Angeles police have not named David as a suspect, at least not publicly. In fact, no one has been identified as a possible perpetrator. But the investigation is ongoing.
Now, people are wondering if someone upstairs wants the OD angle pushed. In almost every major Los Angeles case of public interest, officers' body cam footage is reviewed internally or released to clarify events. But not this time. Requests from journalists reportedly went unanswered. Even Freedom of Information filings were met with the same response: under review.
So first of all, LAPD is not sharing any information with that. I'm not getting anything more than the public's getting.
Right.
They take information from us, but they don't comment on it.
Because of this reaction, some theorize that the footage contradicts the official story, that it may show a scene inconsistent with an OD. Others think it might reveal something more bureaucratic, that procedures weren't followed, or that officers entered before obtaining a proper warrant. Without that footage, the public is left with a void, a space where truth should exist. And as every investigator knows, silence is often more revealing than noise.
Been incredibly quiet. Like, his friends have not made a statement online. You know, these are people that live online.
Right.
He hasn't made any statements online, so I don't know if he's provided them counsel as well, possibly. And everybody's just doing a very good job of being quiet.
Seats to prove that David had a trap house where Celeste was staying, and that wasn't the house that the police searched.
One of the most mysterious threads in the David case involves a second property, a nearby rental unit linked to his name months earlier. It was reportedly accessed multiple times between January and March, yet police initially denied knowing about it. Then, when pressed by journalists, they refused to comment altogether. A second location could explain missing items, timeline gaps, and even movements between addresses. The private investigator also found that not just one, but several other properties were rented under David's name. Perhaps the most glaring oversight, as pointed out by independent analysts, was the missing timeline reconstruction. From early January to late March, there's almost no confirmed record of David's movements. For an investigation tied to a potential death and disappearance, that's extraordinary. Social media posts, travel receipts, and credit transactions exist, but they were never officially collated by police. Fans online did what detectives didn't, mapping flights, studio sessions, and hotel check-ins across Los Angeles, Austin, and Toronto. What they found suggests that his digital footprint fluctuated sharply during that period. He was active one week, silent the next. The private investigator described this gap as the blackout zone. He hinted that what happened in those missing weeks might explain everything, but said he couldn't share details due to legal sensitivity. Meanwhile, the police report ends the timeline abruptly. Every major story has two timelines, the one we're told and the one we discover later. The David case exists somewhere in between. A young artist whose success blurred into tragedy, a police response that left more questions than answers, and a private investigator who entered a silent house and walked out with more than evidence. He walked out with doubt. None of this proves corruption, cover-ups, or conspiracy. But it does paint a troubling picture of neglect, confusion, and perhaps misplaced priorities. In the end, the greatest mystery isn't what David did, it's what others didn't. Because sometimes the loudest truth is the one hidden in paperwork, sealed under review, or never filed at all. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to hit subscribe because I will keep you updated on this case. See you guys in the next video.